to the pop culture cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports Fantasy Football Game Source. Truly appreciate everyone catching all of our great shows, including the Super BS Games Cast, Humanican Media, so much more. Plus, also go ahead and check out the Happy Hoarder as well. Go ahead and check out all these great things, all these great places, all these great people, but go ahead and like and subscribe. 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure you go ahead and check us out every time out on the Pop Culture Cosmos website at popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. And as always, a big, huge shout out to the radio stations all around the world that go ahead and carry us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. It is, of course, did I put this on the LFB instead? Oh, bad up. Oh, we'll keep rolling with it. We'll keep rolling with it, indeed. It wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. It is, of course, a man, the myth, the legend behind the Happy Hoarder, Humanican Media, and 1/3, I guess I'm the third, of the Super BS Games Cast. Good friend indeed. It is, of course, my good friend, Mr. Josh Peterson. What's up, Matt?
What's up? Can we talk for a minute? All right. Let's.
Sure, we might have a larger crowd today. I accidentally put this on the Lakers Fast Break channel, so
go fantastic. Oh, welcome. The Walking Dead. Why don't they just let this thing die? Just stop. This is I want to look at
this
Hollywood
Dead City stuff. Yeah,
and just stop. We've had enough. We've had enough. And at this point, all you're really doing is making people sleep. Let's stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say I blame you. I think The Walking Dead has reached a point a long time ago that it is no longer. I guess I don't know how it still makes a profit for AMC, but then again, AMC doesn't have a lot of properties now at this point in their tenure that are driving the same amount of volume that all their stuff used to. Josh, you got to remember they are a network that really thrived in the 20-teens and not so much in the 2020s. And I'll just leave it at that. So,
yeah, well, everybody loved Walking Dead when it came out, and then it went on.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and then Walking Dead went on for what seemed like 20 years, and now it's still the show has become The Walking Dead.
Absolutely, indeed. And then also as well, of course, Better Call Saul. Once Better Call Saul left, I think that's the last legacy of good shows that they've had that people are interested in talking about when it comes to AMC. So yeah, definitely.
I agree with you, man.
Yes, absolutely. I will just say this for us though, here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, we've had many years where we talked about The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, as some of the finer parts of television, at least the early years of of Walking Dead. I know it's gone off the rails many years ago, but yes, they're trying to go ahead. It's like that. They're trying to go ahead and squeeze every single drop out of it, and I'm not sure that's the wise. I mean, their legacy. They don't care about the legacy of The Walking Dead. It's already just flew the coop a long time ago, Josh.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry. I saw some advertisements for that a couple of days ago, and I just
the Dead City. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Why are we doing this?
It's season 2 already for that. Yeah, absolutely. So, The Walking Dead still remains alive in some form or fashion. For us here, we're still plenty alive. And again, welcome to the Lakers Fast Break audience that's out there joining us accidentally for today's show. I do want to mention, Josh, though, that it is episode 448. We are 1 year away. So you can start the countdown now to our 500th episode celebration that we said we promised that we're going to have. So I'm interested to see if that is going to go ahead and go down, I would love to see you. Love to see Melinda. TJ. Love to see Jamie. If we can, just all these great people. Hopefully, we get together. I know that Retro City Games will welcome us with open arms when that's the case. But yes, 1 year away from hopefully being able to go ahead and have a great time for 500th anniversary or
Gotta do
500, excuse me, of the Pop Culture
gotta do
Cosmos.
a live show again. That would be fun.
That would be
Get
indeed, absolutely.
get Chad and Big Dog, all the guys back together again.
Yes. Bloodhound: The Walking Dead is not on the air anymore. That finished out, but they've run three different spin-off shows.
And
Um,
spin-offs, yeah.
yes, they've had three. And the one of them is Dead City, which takes place, I think, on Manhattan Island, if I'm not mistaken, or what is left of Manhattan Island. And I guess season 2 of that is upcoming for AMC. So yes, they are bleeding it dry, so to speak, with AMC. Uh, but once again, it is the Pop Culture Cosmos. It is Gerald Glassford along with Josh the Great Peterson. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like what you see and you're on the Lakers Fast Break, check us out one time at the Pop Culture Cosmos. I have some great conversations there with Josh. We have the Super BS Games Cast on almost an every week basis. And I recently had a great conversation on Severance, season 2 of Severance, which just concluded. I had a great 90-minute conversation. For our audio listeners, I'm going to go ahead and I believe, if I'm allowed to, space that out over 3 episodes, part 1, part 2, part 3. But yes, if you want to check it out in its entirety, it's available right now on the Pop Culture Cosmos YouTube page. That was great conversation, Josh. Apple TV Plus. We were talking about on the show. Kurt Affair actually chimed in as well, and we were talking about Apple TV Plus seems to be a great place. It's not with them. It's not about quantity. It's about quality and about high end, highbrow entertainment. Josh,
Which is a
and the
lot
thing
of
is,
stations should be taking a page from that notebook there.
yes, looking at you, Netflix. But when it comes to that, but then again, who can argue with Netflix's 2 gazillion subscribers at the end of the day, and how many subscribers does Apple TV Plus has? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, which one's the one losing $1 billion a year, and which one's the one spending $18 billion a year on his programming? So I'll leave it at that. But right after the Severance debuting is the studio with Seth Rogen. And I want to bring this to your attention because he runs the mythical, I believe it's Continental Studios, but he just goes from his basic experience and the writing, the in-depth. A whole cast of well-known actors and actresses are lined up to work with him on it. Directors like Martin Scorsese, I believe, stops by. Ron Howard stops by for cameos and whatnot, just to show you the interaction, because it basically is one of those. Every now and then we get one of those takes on Hollywood, and whether or not it hits too close to home or not. Some people are really enjoying this. The reviews are really strong on it. Some people within Hollywood are taking a little offense, my friend. But your thoughts on the studio?
So I haven't actually watched it. I heard about it and I was like, oh, I think I'll check that out because I do like Seth Rogen. I love that his movies define. I mean, him and Judd Apatow, of course, but they like defined an entire generation of film goers. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that that would hit close to home for some people. Entourage kind of did that too. Remember that show on HBO? They kind of
Yes.
poked fun at the Hollywood lifestyle. So I mean, whatever Seth Rogen's doing, if he's irritating people, he's obviously doing it correctly. So
Yes. He
yeah,
said he's been yelled at in the interviews leading up to the debut. He said he was yelled at by 3 different studio heads.
good,
So,
good.
yes. So,
Yeah,
um,
I do want to sit down and watch it.
I do that after Severance. I don't know why you were avoiding Severance all
Yes,
these
I'm
years.
sorry. Yeah, I sat down
You've
to.
been the brunt. You've been the brunt of my praising Severance for years now.
Yeah, I know. I actually sat down the other day. I was like, I told Gerald I would watch something. I couldn't remember what it was, but
Oh
yes,
my
I'll watch Severance.
God. Yes. Again, every now and then Hollywood makes either a movie or a show or something that kind of just like The Player with Robert Altman when he made that movie a long time ago. I remember that a lot of people inside the studios or in Hollywood, it didn't get to. It was well thought of as far as the movie is concerned, but people inside this, Hollywood were not exactly liking the fact when the joke is on them, and that's the thing, Uh, obviously a lot of his friends were able to come and work with him on this. There's a litany of cast of actors and actresses, and again, like I mentioned, directors that are working on this project with him on the studio. So despite the fact it may come close to home, it seems in 2025 a lot more people within the industry are willing to go ahead and poke fun at themselves.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a side of things we always assume is true, but never get to know for sure. So this, I can see this garnering a lot of attention from people if it's as controversial as people are saying it is.
Again, it's just a point where sometimes some things are come too close to the head, and but with The Player, again, the reviews are very strong on it. I believe it's above an 80 on Metacritic, which again across the board for TV show is really strong. Anything in the 80s, I believe, is pretty darn good
Yeah.
for a TV show when it's rated, because they don't seem to get the same kind of love or universal praise that uh, video games do. When a video game is universally like Split Fiction comes out, it is universally praised and loved, and it now has sports, I think, a 90 or a 91 on Metacritic. Most
It's still not
shows,
bad, though. I mean, that's good.
yeah,
Good, right? Like in the 90s.
yes, in the 90s. It's still in the 90s. But when a show is in the TV shows, it's very hard for TV shows because I guess they get seen by a lot more eyeballs, a lot more critics, whatnot. They're varying opinions on that. So anything in the 80s is considered really very, very must see, can't miss type of entertainment. And I know the studio is going to be what hopefully a lot of people are talking about upcoming with Seth Rogen in the hot seat as the head of the Continental Studios. So hopefully everyone out there will give that a chance. But yes, Josh, reminding you again, if you get a chance, you go to Apple TV Plus. Yes, you can check out the studio, but first, people are still talking about it. Severance. It's funny because a lot of people that have not yet watched Severance are talking about it because they want to understand the concept of innies, outies, the whole philosophy of what's going on, why what's going on, why is it happening, why do people really interject with it, why are people really just inspired by it, and why are people just trying to solve all the mysteries and answer all the questions that the show keeps putting out there. So yes, it's something where even if you haven't watched it, I've heard like on the radio or on podcasts or on shows or whatnot saying, yes, I heard about Severance. We talked about it. It's that water cooler show that hasn't been around for quite some time. There hasn't been that many water cooler shows as of late that people just gather around and talk what goes on with Severance, Josh.
Yeah, well, the way you talk about it reminds me a little bit about the Office, not the show itself, but how people would watch it religiously every week and just discuss it for the next like 3 days, and then rinse and repeat when a new episode came on. So I'm definitely I'm interested, and I've been hearing you talk about it's really sold me on it, but I just got to take the time to sit down and watch it, man.
No worries. But yes, Apple TV Plus, again, they've not hit on everything. As of late, we've talked over the years about the movies that they've spent, my God, probably close to $1 billion on combined, which includes Napoleon, The Gorge, some others. And they've really not succeeded in any measure on that front. But their TV shows like For All Mankind, Pachinko, uh, Ted Lasso, which is coming back for a fourth season, Severance, and The Studio seem to be really well thought of and praised. And yeah, people get a chance to check out Apple TV Plus. We try to highlight on this show channels we're talking about. We did talk about the praise that that Amazon Prime has needed to get because of the stuff that they're doing as of late. Yes, Apple TV Plus deserves that same thing. Max, again, Max is, Warner Brothers, while most of their movies this year have not really done well, their TV shows have done a little bit better in that sense. And I know everybody's waiting for The Last of Us coming up next month as well.
They don't advertise stuff though. Like I know White Lotus has gotten some
Hmm.
advertising, and The Last of Us
Yes.
gets some advertising, but most of the time, I'll go on to Max and just surf through things, and there will be a bunch of shows on there that I didn't even know existed, and that is I think that that's an issue, much like we talked about with Xbox not marketing their games, right? Like you don't know when things are coming out anymore because nobody advertises things. And I think that's where Max is kind of falling short. Prime a little bit, like at least Prime has like billboards and like stuff on buses and stuff, but like Max, you don't
Yes.
know literally anything about what's happening there.
White Lotus has been a big success for them. I know that absolutely. That is also another water cooler show that a lot of people have been talking about. So yes, that has been a great success for them. And despite the movies that have come out in recent times for Warner Brothers that have not done well, Mickey 17, we talked about that wasn't a success, and some others that have not been a success for them as well. At least on the TV end, with the White Lotus leading into The Last of Us, those two look to be something that at least will carry people through on Max. And then, of course, I mentioned on last week's show about Adolescence for Netflix. That has been a huge hit for them. A lot of people talking about that. Even if the $300 million Electric State has not been as well received as I think a lot of people were hoping for, Adolescence has been one of those breakout shows that Netflix and its $300 million 300 million subscriber base really has sunk their teeth into as well, Josh.
Yeah, Netflix has actually had some for every, 10 bad shows they put out, there's, two or three ones that are actually like really good. It's
Just throw out the dart wall, see what sticks, my friend. That's Netflix.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, you have to have bad TV, I guess, in order to have good TV too. So whatever works, I guess.
But it is, of course, what's going on with the state of streaming. Wanted to get you guys caught up on it. The Studio, which is just released, starring Seth Rogen, is now available on Apple TV Plus, and then also as well The White Lotus, which is garnering up a lot of news, a lot of shock value on there as well, as far as what goes on that. I heard Sam Rockwell. I've not been able to see that performance from him, but I'm hearing a lot of great things for his guest performances on there. Walter Goggins, I believe, has done a great job as well. So, yeah, if you get a chance to go ahead and check that out on Max, The White Lotus, obviously go ahead and do that as well. Leading into The Last of Us next month on April. And then, of course, also as well, Adolescence has been garnering a lot of interest on Netflix as well. But let us know what you've been watching right here at popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. My friend, there's much more to talk about on the show. A lot of people are asking, can you talk about the Snow White disaster? So, yes, we will talk about the Snow White disaster, leading into possibly another disaster that was also mentioned in the comments, the Minecraft movie. I don't know if you and the kids are going to go see it.
Is that out or is that not out?
That's upcoming. That pain is upcoming shortly, according to what we're seeing as far as the release date is concerned. And already the interviews have started with Jason Momoa on it as well. So yes, they're already doing the press in advance of it, my friend. So yes, watch out. The Minecraft movie is coming right at you here in just a few days. But
It's another one of
yeah,
those movies like Battleship. They're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have a movie based on this property, but not really have like any lore for it that is worth exploring.
yes. So we'll see what happens with the Minecraft movie, and we'll go ahead and report on it this time next week, hopefully, if that's the case, on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel. But I wanted to go ahead and hear your thoughts on the Snow White disaster. We didn't get a chance to talk about last week, but the Snow White movie by Disney, whatever politics or whatever issues you have on it, who said what or who represents what, as far as the leading ladies, it just wasn't a good movie. Let's just put it out there, Josh. It just wasn't well received. I believe it has a 46 or 47 on Metacritic. It wasn't well received by critics. It didn't get a very good, how should I say, the audience grade. The audience grade, I believe, ranked it like a B. if I'm not mistaken, which is one of the lowest of the Disney live action adaptations that they have been able to put out there. This will probably be the lowest, even lower than Dumbo by any stretch. It looks like it's garnered about close to $150 million, but at this worldwide, but at the box office, it actually is no longer the number one movie in the world. Excuse me, number one movie in the United States, because it has been replaced by the Jason Statham actioneer. So, your thoughts, my friend, on the Snow White disaster, a movie that was, I think, with reshoots, people talk about 250 on that one, $50 million. Man, this is another box office failure, which isn't good. A Working Man with Jason Statham, which costs substantially less. Maybe probably will not hold its audience like The Beekeeper did early last year. If you remember that movie, The Beekeeper, actually, for a lot of people, really enjoyed that movie, and that movie actually turned out to be a pretty good sized hit for what it was and what it was cost. So the same duo, David Ayer and Jason Statham, back again in A Working Man. $15 million here in the States, $30 million worldwide. Not exactly a gangbuster start, but for a movie that doesn't cost nearly anywhere near Snow White, I think that's pretty decent nonetheless.
Yeah, yeah. So the Snow White thing's weird because I've followed it a little bit, but haven't. I know it suffered a lot of controversy because of different celebrities at different times. I know Peter Dinklage's comments on the not hiring or how dwarves don't want to be cast in roles like that caused some issues, and then Rachel Zegler, is that her name?
Yes, Rachel Zegler.
Said, yeah, whatever she said and is continuing to say. I don't know, but I mean, like, this was in our current climate. I just don't see. It's no wonder a movie like that is not doing so hot. But
Yeah, Gal
I
Gadot herself, again,
yeah,
been a
this is
lightning rod for controversy in
a
recent
lot
years,
of
and
controversial
yeah,
tension going on here. But
yes,
I
I
don't know,
think it's just
honestly.
when you look at it, it's just not a good mix. And is Gal Gadot going to be the actress that, again, a lot of people have talked about her? We've talked about it. We've even talked about it on the show. Does her accent or the way she speaks lines bother something? It seems seemingly it has, the way she's is it just because it just doesn't seem to always translate out as well as I think a lot of people hope.
So here's where I stand. Like, this is Snow White, much like Mufasa, is a movie that I don't think anybody like wanted. Like, I don't know like where they're doing their marketing research or wherever to find out like, hey, what live action properties should we make next? But like, I just didn't foresee Snow White being a very desirable thing when they have so many like already really cool properties that would make really cool live action adaptations. I mean, I'll die on the hill of like Atlantis and Treasure Planet, but um yeah, Snow White is like that's people's childhood you're messing with. So don't be very careful when you put something like that into motion.
Yeah, and I disagree with JSJ. I know he says cast someone else other than Ziegler and the movie would have been good. I really think that you still would have had issues with Gal Gadot, and the writing wasn't really good. They tried to change some things from what I was reading and investigating. They tried to change some things and step away a little bit from what took place and not make it a shot by shot recreation of the beloved animated film. I really think when it comes right down to it, it's just wasn't written well, wasn't acted, in many ways to people's best expectations. And then, of course, the Seven Dwarves part of it, and how they were put into there, either whether the real life or CGI elements that were put into it just weren't, I guess, integrated as well as a lot of people were liking. It overall did not make for a favorable movie.
Well,
And
yeah.
again, it just was one of those things where you look at it and say this movie just is not going to work.
And not to mention too that Snow White is considered a Disney classic, but it's a boring movie. Like, it just, even the cartoon one is not an exciting film to watch. And my wife would probably disagree with me, but it is not. It's just not a good. It's not a movie that I would like stand there and be like, oh yeah, we should definitely make a live action film because people really, really still love the original one.
Again, there is a fondness for that original one, but yeah, I'm hoping she won't come by and smack you on the head for saying that. So
You know, yeah, she's gonna make me a
okay.
poison apple.
There you go. Absolutely. But it is Snow White, the disaster at the box office. But before we head to the 30-minute half hour break, I want to hear your thoughts on, oh boy, here it comes, the Minecraft movie. I mean, Minecraft is what, one of the most successful, if not the most successful video game property of all time based on dollar amounts spent. And what, and or how many sold, however, whatever your barometer and metrics of it, if you do not say it's the most popular of all time, you put GTA 5 or you put something else there, Tetris or whatever you want to put, Solitaire, whatever you want to put up in as far as the most popular, most used of all time, you have to put Minecraft in that mix. I mean, remember the days we were talking about it back. One of our most popular shows, in fact, our most popular show of all time, dealt quite a bit with Minecraft and Mojang and all that. So, your thoughts? It has now been so many years later. I think too many years later, my friend, turned into a movie with Jason Momoa, Jack Black, some other individuals in the movie. I don't know that, just other individuals involved or whatnot. I don't remember their name. I have to get the cast list and whatnot if I wanted to, but doing their best in front of a CG type deal, in front of a green screen time. These are one of those green screen movies to me, which screams failure of a high order, just, better in concept than what we see. Your thoughts on the Minecraft movie coming out at the end of this week?
My first question here is why? Like why did they feel after all these years, like why did they feel the need to make this movie? There's no the video game has no lore, right? You have your gameplay. Like there's no story to Minecraft outside like, Minecraft dungeon or whatever. But they did the same thing, like I mentioned earlier. They did the same thing with Battleship, right? They're like, hey, what's a cool
Mhm.
property that people love, and let's just make some crap up about it and turn it into a movie. And then we got Battleship. And I blame yeah, Roblox. Yeah, that was another one that was not
That's actually our most popular episode is on Roblox. That's my
gotcha.
bad.
But there's a Roblox movie that tanked also, so like
Yes.
why have we not learned our lesson from this? And I blame the Barbie movie, right? Because the Barbie movie is another movie that was hugely is crazy successful, had no like story to go along with the toys or whatever, but it blew, blew the box office away. And I think that it's because of that we have movies like Minecraft, and there's some other really like dumb ones coming out too, if I remember correctly, that are just based on things that have no story to them. So I don't know, man. Like it does not look good. The combination of Jack Black and Jason Momoa goes to show like they could not get anybody better to be in this movie because the movie's not going to be good. And maybe next week after it comes out, I could be eating my shoe, and if it passes Captain America and box office numbers. But I don't think this was a good idea, and I don't foresee it making that much money.
Well, that's the problem though. Right now, we talked about it a little bit in previous weeks. How this box office is this year is just not doing well. There are no destination movies for large amounts of people to go ahead and go see. We'll talk about one here in a little bit that we think will be a destination movie, but that will be not until next year at the earliest. But right now, Captain America did not meet the numbers that it was supposed to meet. I mean, when it comes right down to it, a Chinese film, Neja 2, is the one that's really only been moving the needle out there worldwide basis.
$1.8 billion is
Well, it's over
insane.
two.
Is it?
It's over.
I'm just looking at
It's
the
two
numbers.
two. It's closing in on 2.2. So
Yeah.
yeah, it won't be the biggest of all time, but it will be. It's already in the top five biggest movies of all time with Neja 2. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see what Minecraft does if it does come out to a big opening and if it will retain an audience. But we want to hear your thoughts on the Minecraft. Our audience here on the Lakers Fast Break has been great, sharing their thoughts on all the different movies and all the different TV shows. Hopefully you will too, but please let us know your thoughts. Pop Culture Cosmos at
Sorry,
Yahoo.
Bloodhound mentioned Monopoly. That was the one that I've been
Yes.
reading a lot about.
Yes. And a GTA movie would, yes. I'd love to see that one in action as well. So 1/2 hour down, 1/2 hour to go here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. It is, of course, Josh the Great Peterson, Humanican Media, also as well part of the Super BS Gamescast, and of course, the Happy Hoarder. If you need your collectibles, go ahead and check out the Happy Hoarder on the various interwebs and social media. It is me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this and truly appreciate it. Speaking of movies, oh boy, if the Fantastic Four doesn't do well, if Thunderbolts doesn't do well, if Jurassic Rebirth, whatever, doesn't do well, or any of the movies at Christmas do well, we might not have a huge movie, unless it's from the Chinese audience again, until Avengers Doomsday comes out, most likely next year. It's going into production here rather shortly. They named the 20 plus name list. I know I was kidding with TJ. It was like a 19-hour
announcement. Yeah, yeah.
5.5 hours. It seemed like 19, but yes, it was 5.5 hours to put one chair down, and then another chair down, and then another chair down, and then another chair down. It was, it's like it's Marvel at its finest. You just can't go out there with a 20-minute presentation. Here you go. Have a great day. No, they got to go ahead and do something like that. So I want to hear your thoughts, my friend, on this. You see the cast list. If you want to bring it up, go ahead and bring out the cast list. I mentioned it on last week's show, the entire cast list that's been named so far. My first question to you is, who really stands out as far as surprises for you that were named in the cast of Avengers Doomsday? Before we get to the people that weren't named in there, any surprises there or any complaints there, what about the individuals that were named to Avengers Doomsday? Any surprises for you included in there?
Well, I was and I wasn't surprised that Thor is back. I mean, I know people love that character and his movie, his place in the MCU is left so open ended. But I got to tell you, and the answer is probably pretty obvious here, is knowing that seeing the X-Men characters come back was a quite the surprise.
The original X-Men, just to give everybody a heads up, a lot of
Yeah,
those characters, not all of them, but some of them. Yes.
some. You got Kelsey Grammer as the Beast, and you have
Yes.
What's his name? I forget, Alan something or other that played Nightcrawler. Ian
Alan
McKellen.
Cumming. Yes.
Alan Cumming. You got Ian McKellen as
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart as Xavier. And then I was reading somewhere that the guy from the original Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic, is supposed to be one of like the variants that Reed Richards talks to. So
I don't know if he's in there. He has not been confirmed. So
no, sorry, not in Avengers Doomsday, but in the Fantastic Four movie. So I just read about that anyways recently. But I'm sitting here thinking, like, if you're going to be casting all these people, and they said they're not done, so I feel like you're like, if you put one X-Men in there, you can't have that and not have Hugh Jackman involved in some capacity. But also, like, now people don't want Hugh Jackman without Deadpool. So my gut is telling me that we're going to see Hugh Jackman, we're going to see Ryan Reynolds, and we're going to see Tom Holland at least announced at some point for this movie. And this is going to end up being probably one of the most expensive movies ever made, because think about the salaries that have to be paid to all these actors, even the ones they've already just announced.
Well, the Russo brothers lately have been making a lot of expensive movies. The problem is they haven't been making a lot of expensive movies that have been good since their days that they left Marvel. Their best movie, Josh, was a movie that they produced that they didn't direct on, which was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yes. Outside of everything out of that has either come very expensive and very mediocre at best. The Electric State, for instance, is what they directed last, and we just talked about that.
I've been wanting to
Did
watch that one. I haven't had a chance to sit down and do it yet.
Good luck to you. Play it in the background is what I'll best advice I can give you on that one. But yes, the Russo brothers. If I was Marvel, I'd be kind of concerned because they have not had the best of track records since
They made
their
them
Avengers.
billions of dollars though with Endgame and
Yes.
Infinity War. So I think they're trying to see if they can be a more than a what if magic can strike what is it 4 times now? I think they did another Marvel outside the Avengers movies. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm excited to see this movie. I hope it's not bad, but also like what can you show us that we haven't already seen before? Like is this movie just going to be a bunch of stars in the same place and it's just going to be like a rinse and repeat of what we've already seen, or is there going to be something that truly makes this movie special?
One of the things that I wanted to mention again, people who have talked to you have heard me, and many times before. My daughter has heard me. My Marvel fan daughter has heard me before at nauseum talk about how I thought they should have kept the RDJ. I think I've mentioned it on Lakers Fast Break. The RDJ reveal should have been kept under wraps. I really think they should have just surprised people that to get people talking once that movie comes out. That would have gotten people even more excited about going to see Avengers Doomsday. I really think that would have been much better. Whether or not they keep the secret, if they have an evil Captain America or evil Avengers team at some point in time because of this, where it's been rumored, I'd like to see that kept at least under wraps because I know that a lot of people have speculated on Chris Evans and the like becoming evil versions of themselves under the auspices of Doctor Doom. So we'll see. The Thunderbolts were named, and I know JSJ has issues with it. The Thunderbolts were named as part of the cast with one notable exception. And I'm looking at you, Taskmaster. Your thoughts, people say don't read too much into it, and people say read everything into it. Your thoughts on the Taskmaster being shut out as of this point in time?
I honestly hadn't even noticed it, but I mean, I guess I would assume that that means that she dies in the Thunderbolts. Here's the thing, though, like I, I don't know if they deserve to be in Avengers Doomsday or whatever, but I am. This is like the Thunderbolts is like the first Marvel movie that I've been excited about, probably in the past like 3 years, I think. So I don't know. Like I'm hoping that maybe there'll be something substantial, in the movie that is worth bringing them into Doomsday. But we'll see. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if that's the case, Taskmaster will probably be dead.
We'll see. RIP task. People already put RIP Taskmaster and all that stuff, right? If I was the actress, we talked about. In fact, TJ and I we talked about the actress who played Taskmaster. Just like you're going, if she went to the Starbucks and just she's there ordering her cappuccino of the day or whatever, and I could just hear the silence and people just like looking at her. She's like,
Yeah.
okay, all
What do you
right,
know that I don't? Okay,
exactly.
let me just touch on one more. Namor, right? Tinoch
Yes,
Huerta, something or other. I don't
yes.
remember the last part of his name, but
Mhm.
um,
From the
that
Black Panther sequel, everyone.
yes, that character annoyed me so much. And I know in the comic books, Namor is awesome, but like in the movie, like he just came across as incredibly whiny. And I just don't really have any desire to see him in another thing. So that really surprised me that he showed up in the casting for this one.
So, is there any other surprises? Again, James Marsden was the biggest surprise for me because I thought he had a slight case of death, if you remember. Which X-Men original X-Men movie did was Dark Phoenix?
X-Men 3, yeah, he goes, Jean Grey literally disintegrates
Yes.
him, but also, like, we never see what happens because they cut that scene out,
Okay.
and all we
All right.
see
Well,
is,
you don't
we just
see the
see
body.
yeah, we just see his glasses floating, so everyone assumed he got disintegrated, but maybe she sent him somewhere, I don't know. Quick, little stroke of the pen can change everything, but what do you think about Simu Lee, or as, Shang-Chi coming back?
That I don't have a problem with. I know a lot of people are glad that Aquafina is not part of the mix. Okay, I know Simu Leo, I guess, had hinted in the months or actually last year leading up to this that when it was the Kang Dynasty movie instead of the Doomsday movie, he had, I think, a bigger role in it because of the rings, whatnot, leading more into the Kang part of it. So I guess he will still remain part of it, but he probably won't have as big a role as I'm assuming. When you're dealing with what 20 plus actors in there,
Yeah.
I seriously doubt he's going to have as big a role on it. But um,
Yeah.
again, I don't mind at all. I think he's a very likable character, and I have no problems with him in it.
I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed his movie. Like it bummed me out because he was their slate supposed to be a Shang-Chi originally before
Mhm.
Kevin Feige stepped in. He's like, hey guys, we gotta revamp all of this. Yeah, because there's supposed to be an Eternals 2 and a Shang-Chi 2, like all that stuff was lined up, and so far, like, but none of those characters have gotten a sequel. So I think they're letting people know, like, hey, Shang-Chi's still a thing, and maybe one day we'll get another movie with him, but I don't think it's a priority. Maybe this is appeasement because he doesn't really seem like he belongs in this with everybody else, but I don't know. I like I said, I like the character, and I hope they use him well, and he's not just in there for what 5 minutes.
I'll just say this again with the cast that's there, it's going to be very intriguing. I think it is leaning on that X-Men now that of course Marvel has the X-Men property. I just wish Universal and Marvel could come to some sort of agreement on Hulk. Either do a movie or just give the full rights to Marvel. Just let's get this over with. It's just like it's gone over what almost 15 years at this point. Like we just move
Yeah.
on, please. Just finish this one way or the other. But when it comes right down to it, I think it's going to lead more into an X-Men versus Avengers type deal that we will probably see evolve over the course of Doomsday and Secret Wars. But I want your top three. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead first.
Sorry, let me ask you one last question. All right. Do you
Mhm.
think that we're going to see Moon Knight and Daredevil show up anywhere?
That's what I wanted to tell you or wanted to ask.
Okay.
Your thoughts on the top three characters you think are missing so far. Now, mind you, again, there's been hints that possibly more people will be involved, but so far that have not been announced.
So I would like to see Andrew Garfield show up
Mhm.
as the Amazing Spider-Man. I know people have asked him about it, and he's kind of danced around it like he always does, because that was a big thing, right? Like they said, there are all these rumors after No Way Home that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will be showing up in more Avengers movies, and they said Secret Wars was going to be where it happened. So maybe that's where we'll see him. But I want to see Daredevil and Moon Knight. Like that's my I want to see them interact with some of these bigger these bigger names in the MCU. Like that would be
The
that
Punisher.
the Punisher. Yeah, I mean, we have all these characters who have a long history of interacting with each other in the comic books, but we never see them on screen together. We see them, we don't even see them like in the same they're in the same universe, but we don't see them in the same, like there's the big screen and the small screen. Like, right, we see the Punisher, Daredevil, Moon Knight, they're on TV shows, but they never interact with the big screen characters. I would love to see them make that jump, and it would be truly special. And I think that that would be like a true nod to the some of the source material where these stories come from.
And the numbers have actually been pretty decent from what the early word is and the early leak outs on Daredevil, that the numbers have been actually pretty decent for Daredevil so far. The episodes, I don't know if you've been catching up so far on it.
I am,
Um,
yeah.
I'm gonna say it's been more episode filler of the week until this last episode that was dropped, episode 6. I think that finally is the kind of Daredevil show I want to see, as opposed to 2 through 5. I think 2 through 5 were just pretty much episodes of the week. I really
Yeah.
didn't focus on it, but yeah, that's
Episode 1 was awful. Like it was, and you could
really.
tell that I was a victim of like the rewrites that happened because
Mhm.
they were see if you looked at the editing, everything seems so patchy. Like it was all patchwork. Everything from like the clips themselves to the way the sound and everything was edited together. It felt like it was a bunch of different things that had been pieced together, and like it was no, it was sorry, not my favorite. It didn't really set up like my expectations for the rest of the the season in a positive manner. But yeah, I mean, it's on and off. It's had some good moments. Yeah, the last episode was good because we finally get to see like Wilson Fisk can't avoid being the Kingpin, and Matt Murdock can't avoid being the Daredevil. It's not a persona anymore. It's who these people are. And I think moving forward, we'll get to see a little more of what we expected. But I will say, like, the Netflix stories were a lot more coherent than the Disney stories, or sorry, the Disney version of it. So I'm hoping that we'll get back to that a little bit, but who knows?
Who knows, indeed, my friend. But is there any others? Because I've got a little bit of a list off the top of my head as well that I'd say of individuals that I would have liked to have seen announced. Not to say that they won't be in it, but at least so far officially they have yet to be announced. So is there any others that you? Because I mean we haven't yet to talk about the Eternals, some of the X-Men individuals that were missing, most of the cast of Shang-Chi, the Secret Invasion movie, excuse me, series, whatever you want to call it, the Marvels. I think a lot of Disney misses they're trying to gloss over and not give much room to. Some of it for obvious reasons, some of it for not. But again, that you can speculate on that all you want. But anybody else that you're missing out there? Because I have a couple of mine I would have loved to have seen.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to see some of the Eternals characters. I would love to see I love to see Blade show up. I mean, these are just like dream
Mm.
characters. These aren't, Blade. There's no reason for him to be in this movie, honestly, but it would be really cool to see him. And I don't care whether it's the Wesley Snipes or the Marshall Ali version, but it would have been a really cool thing to see him. And what's his Kit Harington is really
Yes.
hoping to see back on the screen in some form. But I so far I don't know what's going on. He's supposed to be in the new Blade movie, and then they said he wasn't because it was taking the spotlight off Blade. I don't know, but I hope that they set him up to have a really cool story, and I hope they use him at some point.
Blade is my number one. I know that a lot of people are just like, oh, Wesley Snipes, but if you followed the career of Mahershala Ali, he just fits. If he's given the opportunity to do Blade, I think everybody's just going to say he's going to knock it out of the park. I'm not saying anything bad about Wesley Snipes. I know he phoned it in on Blade Trinity, and him and Ryan Reynolds are all kissy kissy. They're making up for it now, and Ryan Reynolds behind the scenes is trying to do a lot for Wesley Snipes' Blade character. That's great. And I understand he said the movie there will be one Blade, blah blah blah. But unfortunately, that is actually a wrong statement because there was actually a Blade TV series by Spike back in the day. So there's already been one Blade, more than one Blade, technically.
Right, I
So
remember that.
yeah, I'd like to forget that myself. But anyways, I'll just say this: give Mahershala Ali a chance. He is a two-time, Academy Award winner or two-time Academy Award nominee. At least he's won one. I know that. Yeah, he's just absolutely just fantastic actor, and I think he really needs to be given his time. I really think his voice and his demeanor would really make for good Blade. That's number one for me.
Yeah.
I think number two for me. Where's Halle Berry in Storm? You have all these actors from the previous X-Men movies. Where's Halle Berry as Storm? I think she's a very likable character. I think she's a character a lot of people, and then Jean Grey herself as well. So
Yeah. Well, what about
yeah,
Iceman? Like he was always a pretty prominent. I forget the actor Jake something or other. I forget what the
mhm.
actor's name was, but yeah, where's he at?
Yeah, exactly. So how deeper into the woods are you going to go into right now for X-Men, or are you going to wait and save that? I'm assuming there's going to be at least a cast roster that's 50 stars long for Secret Wars. That's what I'm expecting on that one.
Yeah.
And the last one is the TV shows. Yeah. Well, actually, I also want to mention Hawkeye. Jeremy Renner would have been nice if he would have been included, but I guess they finished his character off for now under some great auspices because again, Hawkeye for me was a fantastic TV show for
Phil
Marvel.
Coulson. Bring
Yes,
Phil
Phil
Coulson
Coulson.
back. That's what we all want.
Exactly. As of now, JSJ, the Blade movie is off the schedule, so my guess is no. They do not have a good script or something that they're going to run with, so it has all been put off the schedule for
I don't
now.
understand
So
what's so complicated about this. Like, you have a vampire hunter kills vampires. Like, what kind of story are you looking for? Just make
exactly,
him kill vampires. Like, that's really all all we want to see.
absolutely. So those are the individuals, yeah, that I'm looking for. But also, like you said, Daredevil, Kingpin, just somebody to connect and also reward the Disney Plus TV shows and say, you know what, we are putting them on par with what we're doing there. And the last of all, last certainly not least, Nick Fury. Uh, did you
Yes.
guys you've given him nothing but crap lately with Secret Invasion and the Marvels? Get him into something good. Give him an opportunity to be the Nick Fury we know and love, because what you've given him in his past two outings has been nothing short of really just absolutely disgusting because of what they've given him. It's just really
Yeah.
disappointing because he's such a great actor, and Nick Fury's been such a great character in the Marvel auspices, and you really haven't done too much to really put a good stamp on this tale and this part of his Marvel career.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I like I said, like, I hope that this film is not so busy with characters that the story gets lost in, like, the ooh, look who's there.
I think
This
it's going
movie,
to go
like,
busy. Check out Secret Wars right after that a year later.
no, but it has to be good because Marvel has dropped the ball on the
Yes,
last 2 phases, and
yes.
they need something that's gonna bring people back, and again, it can't be just a rinse and repeat of Endgame. It has to be something that has a good story. It has to be something that has consequences for the MCU moving forward, because we have a lot of these characters who have been in this world for years, and you're gonna want to how many more movies are these actors gonna want to do? So it has to be special, man. And like I really hope it is more than just like a lineup of actors.
Well, we'll see what happens. Young Avengers, JSJ pointed out as well. Absolutely. What's going on with that? I'd like to know as well. Midnight Suns, is that going to
Yeah.
be, yeah, Ghost Rider? I'll just, the list goes on with what we'd like to see. Maybe we'll see it all in Secret Wars. We'll find out. But your thoughts on Avengers Doomsday, please let us know. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. My friend, we're almost out of here, but before we do, wanted to go ahead and mention AC Shadows. You were having a problem getting it. Nintendo Switch 2, I believe they are doing, not too distant future, another Nintendo Direct, which is going to tell us a date to get said Nintendo Switches pretty soon, as early as this week, possibly in June. Best Buy has hinted that early in April, you'll be able to get a chance to pre-order Nintendo Switch 2s. Will Assassin's Creed Shadows be one of those games you can play on Nintendo Switch 2? And your thoughts? You've been having some issues trying to get a physical copy on it as well.
Yeah, nobody out here has gotten their physical copies in yet, and I don't know if that speaks to the current state of Ubisoft or if it has something to do with whatever the tariff situation going on. Because I know they produce the games are printed overseas, so I'm not sure what the deal is with that. But yeah, nobody out here has gotten any physical copies. The stores, like, I went to Walmart last night because I finally had some time. I was like, I'll go pick up the game, and they're empty. And I asked the guy there, and he said, yeah, we never. I assumed they had sold out, but he said they never got any copies. Same thing with Target, and even the game or Best Buy out here didn't get any. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm a physical person only, so I don't want to purchase a digital copy unless I absolutely have to. I did get Assassin's Creed Mirage for $10 on PS5, so that was a steal. But
There you go.
it's I don't know. I'm hearing mixed things about it though. Like, some people love it, some people hate it. There's not a lot of people who are right in the middle of that, but this and Ubisoft's been doing some weird things lately, right? I mean, I think they are trying to consolidate their company. They're talking about selling a lot of pieces to Tencent. And they're trying to go private too because didn't want their stockholders to buy them out. So they're like barely clinging to life here. And I don't know if AC Shadows was enough to save them or will be enough to save them.
We'll see, my friend. But yeah, I agree. I don't know if AC Shadows will be enough to go ahead and stave off whatever dark future is there for Ubisoft. But maybe it will be a good thing if somebody else buys them. Tencent, I don't know. And one investment firm, I don't know. But maybe that will just give the impetus. If you was Xbox or Sony or Nintendo, even one of those three, if they actually took an interest in the IPs, those IPs, if utilized better and more properly, I think they could, be
Can you
revitalized, many of them in a better way.
can you imagine if Bethesda took over AC Shadows? Like one, we would only get an Assassin's
Mm.
Creed game every 6 to 10 years, but they would probably be amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Natalia, Inception is a great movie. Absolutely agree with you on that. Just absolutely resonated. And right now, Christopher Nolan is in the midst of making his Odyssey movie, the Odyssey,
Yeah,
with
let's
Matt
get switched.
Damon. Yeah, the pictures on the set. He got jacked up. It's funny because you see him sometimes when he's not doing a Bourne movie, Josh, and he's just, you see him. He's got the dad bod. That's cool. He's rocking it like us and whatnot. And then you see him like this. Picture showed him last week, and he's like all just jacked up and just like, dang. He just
Yeah.
turns it on and turns it off. It's like I wish I could do that. So I'll say I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Just like, man, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah,
Just start
you
there.
gotta appreciate these actors, man. I mean, there's just the
Yeah,
lengths the things they put their bodies through is impressive.
absolutely. But we'll see with the Odyssey coming out. That could be one of the other movies. The problem is we're talking about and we're waiting for movies that are coming out next year. The problem is we need movies we need to talk about that are coming out this year. Yes, Matt Damon is in Elysium. I thought that movie was okay, Natalia. Didn't think that movie was great. But maybe Neo Blomkamp, as we talked about a couple weeks ago on the Pop Culture Cosmos YouTube channel, as Josh and I know that he is taking over the property of Starship Troopers, but he's doing it based off the novel and not the much more fun, enjoyable, and interesting Paul Verhoeven movie of the 90s, which I wish he would actually focus on doing instead of the book. Because if you've read the book, it's a tough read, and like Paul Verhoeven, I didn't get through it all the way either. It's a tough read indeed, but I'll leave it at that. But Josh, it's been a great episode. Before we head on out, again to our Lakers Fast Break audience, this is the Pop Culture Cosmos. We have a lot of great things going on there on our own YouTube channel there, and also audio podcasts as well, including the Super BS Games Cast. You said maybe we'll do it tomorrow night with an episode of that. I know that Brank will be talking AC Shadows and Nintendo Switch 2 and all that. But before we head on out, any thoughts, anything you want to drop? Happy Hoarder before we head on out?
Actually, yeah, if you could follow the Happy Hoarder on Instagram and or Facebook, that'd be greatly appreciated. We're just trying to grow that social media presence, and we'll have some more news on things here soon.
Absolutely. He, as far as getting me involved, as far as that, sending me thoughts and notes on some of the things that he is looking at in the world of collectibles. It's always good to see. And Josh, if you could follow him at the Happy Hoarder on Facebook or Instagram, it would be immensely and greatly appreciated indeed, and much welcomed by all of us here at the Pop Culture Cosmos indeed. But yes, looking forward to seeing what we're going to have here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. May do a Lakers Fast Break later. I don't know. Time dictates. I know Joe Soro will probably have a Joe Soro experiment on his channel as well. So maybe he'll go ahead and do that, but we'll see. But it is, of course, for Lakers Fast Break fans on Monday. Want to go ahead and mention that we will be back for them for the Lakers and the Houston Rockets tomorrow night. That'll be on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. And of course, the best post game for the Lakers that's out there on the Lakers Fast Break. And tomorrow, if all works out well, on the Pop Culture Cosmos YouTube channel, the Super BS Games Cast as well. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the pop culture cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.